Good day everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Cailyn and this is Foundation First. At Foundation First we are education about education. If you are a parent, if you are a teacher, or if you are just somebody who likes to learn more about education, humans and the way they grow and develop. Make sure to like and subscribe so that you can keep up to date in all the wonderful things that we're going to be learning. That this is it right for children. We should not take play away. It is important, and this is why we are here. Types of play. When talking about the types of play, we're going to refer to Bob Hughes' Taxonomy of play. What is taxonomy? Taxonomy is a fancy term for category.
Ooh.
Some of you in the educational space may be aware of Bloom's taxonomy. This is going to be Bob Hughes' Taxonomy of play. One thing to note when thinking about the taxonomy of play and the different categories we have is to remember that all these different types of play are interwoven. You may get different categories of play within one game. You may get role play, you may get symbolic play, etc. just in one game, but it is characterized in different ways. Symbolic play. Symbolic play is exactly that. It's using symbolism. They use different objects, ideas, or actions to reenact or resemble different objects, ideas, and actions. For example, using a block as a cell phone, or using a plastic tube as a telescope. The next is rough and tumble play. This can happen from all different types of children. It's not just from one sex. You can see it from girls and boys and everything in the rainbow. So this is where children are rough, they are experiencing their strength, they are pushing, pulling, and they are roughhousing. They are experiencing their physical strength, their flexibility, and their limitations as a human being and a soul in a body. This is often something that they use to burn out a lot of energy. Often you'll see children that doing rough and tumble play, they may be play fighting. This is something we discourage because often it results in tears. But it's very important to distinguish real fighting, to distinguish real fighting to play fighting. Socio-dramatic play. This is when children act out experiences. This may be going to the shops or going to the doctor or cooking a meal at home. Social play. So social play is where children engage in a game that has known rules. There are certain rules to a game and everybody in that game needs to abide by the rules. This may be in a game of tag, or it may be while the children are building something together. Creative play. Creative play is where children are doing exactly that, creating. They're using different materials and different objects to create something new. They are experiencing different mediums and learning about what they can create from their imagination. They are using these materials to alter in a certain way to create something new. This may be doing box construction. Something that I suggest a lot of parents do, and teachers as well, is that you can save a lot of your leftover or your recycled boxes and tissue rolls and bottles and give the child these and you can just let them build. Be creative. My mother did this when I was younger and it was endless amount of fun. We were so creative with it. And funny enough, it just turns out that in my curriculum where I studied my degree, this was part of the curriculum when teaching preschool. And my mum had no idea. So well done, Mom, trying to keep us busy. Now is communication play. They are playing using gestures and words such as charades, or telling jokes, or play acting. They may also do something like I Spy. These are games of communication play. The next is dramatic play. This is where children are assigned certain roles and they then act them out. Often you'll see children who get different roles to play. Often you'll see children who play a family role. This child is the mummy, this is the daddy, and this is the baby, and they play a family going to the beach, for example. This is something you see very often, and the children decide on these roles on their own. This isn't with the encouragement or with the assignment of the teacher. Locomotor play. This is movement just for movement's sake, just because it's fun. Why not? This is when children run, chase, they play tag, they run up and down for 45 minutes, and you as an adult wonder how do they have so much energy, and by the end, when it's lineup, you're staring at them and you would think and hope that they would be calming down, but no, they still have energy, and you wish that you had that energy, but you don't. You can barely stand up from your bed in the mornings. Another one is hide and seek, when they climb a tree or climb a jungle gym and jump from the top. One of the rules very often you'll see in school is that you don't jump off the jungle gym. You don't want them to break something. Well, it's as much as you have it, they still do it anyway. So they just love that feeling of that motion of falling to the ground. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Now, deep play. Deep play is when children conquer their fears. They try out something that they would have never done before and realize that they are capable of so much more than they thought of. They test their fear of heights. They test their experience of snakes or things that created fear. An example is a child in my class last year. She was very afraid of going on top of the jungle gym, but there was nothing stopping her. She went and she tried it anyway. Even though she was shaking and worried that she was going to fall, she didn't need a parent or a teacher to encourage them to do that. Some children do need encouragement, and this is something if a child is avoiding going on top of a jungle gym and climbing and playing in such a way, they do need to be encouraged to do this, because this type of play is so important to them. It builds their confidence and it builds their resistance and face their fears. If a child is avoiding it completely, this is a red flag for them feeling like they can't or having a certain weakness in that area. It is important for the caregiver and the teacher to encourage them up the jungle gym. Even if it's step by step, day by day, it's really important for their development to engage in deep play, to engage in locomotive play, to really develop them holistically. Exploratory play. This is where children use their different senses to explore. This is their sense of smell, sight, their sense of taste and touch. These are children experiencing the world around them. Often you'll see this during sensory motor stage, where a child just is at this stage where they're just putting everything in their mouth. This is an example of that. But in a preschool space, you need to develop the child's sensory input. So this is encouraging them to play with things of different textures, different scents. It's important for children to experience all the range of smells, tastes, textures, etc. Otherwise, this little door closes up and they really struggle with that, and they may become very defensive in that area. So for example, if a child is tactile defensive, they will not want to touch certain objects with certain textures. This is important for their development, as this can also lead to an avoidance of certain textures when eating, and this can prevent them from eating certain things. The next is fantasy play. This is where children use their imagination. They let their imagination run wild. This is where they experience a make-believe world. In this time of play, children are so engrossed in this make-believe world that they truly believe that it's happening. This type of play, children get so invested in their character and invested in their game. They get so deeply invested in this imaginative play that they will believe in the fact that they have powers, and they'll believe in the way that they can fly, and believe that they'll be the superhero, and at night when everybody's sleeping, they're going to prowl the streets and jump across cityscapes to beat the villains of the city. The next one is imaginative play. This is different to fantasy play, as this is where conventional rules that govern the world around them do not apply. For example, having wings like a bee or jumping like a frog into a pond. Mastery play. Mastery play is where children really engage in the control of the environment around them, the control of the physical and effective ingredients of the world around them, where they're digging a big hole in a sandpit or using cushions to build a fort. Object play. This is play where children use objects in a sequence of hand-eye manipulation. So this is where they may be throwing and catching a ball, or using a paintbrush to paint, or using a pencil to draw. Role play. Role play is when children take on a role that they've seen in the outside world. This is where children engage and explore ways of being. This may be sweeping, it may be cleaning dishes, it may be learning to fold, or it may be pretending to dial a phone and be on a call. Recapitulative play. Recapitulative play, I spent so long trying to figure out how to say the word, and then realized that I had absolutely no idea what I was talking about. So instead of trying to teach something that I didn't understand, I felt it to be necessary to really research it a little bit more and truly find out so I can speak truly to it. Bob Hughes speaks about recapitulative play as a type of play that has been passed down for many generations. Over thousands and thousands of years, with our ancestors used certain things in order to survive, which then turned into play, and through generations and genes, etc., that type of play has been passed down to us, as it is a form of learning how to survive. So some people don't agree with this. Some people just say that it's just a natural drive that children are experimenting. When I found this out and I read deeper into it, I thought it was very interesting and something to really think about when seeing children do it, and just think about what humans do to survive and what human evolution is over the years. Recapitulative play is when children play in a sense of certain survival techniques or traditions or rituals that may have been passed down generation after generation. So this may be in the form of building structures to survive. It could also be seen as when children rub sticks together to try pretend to build a fire. It could also be in the form of sitting around a campfire and telling ghost stories. It's these type of things that through many generations, thousands and thousands of years, and therefore shows up in children's play. So that's it for this episode. Leave some comments down below about some things that you might have seen that can fall in any one of these categories and topics, and let me know what you think, whether you see it in your class as a teacher or whether you see it as a parent. If you liked it, please click the like button below. It really helps with algorithm, and I just want to get this information out to as many people as possible. Really hope you enjoy it. Again, please subscribe. This is super important and I really enjoy doing this. Remember the why in everything that you do, and in that case, remember foundation first. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in my next one.